Recently, I posted to the Nut House a comment about Danny Arce not being Bill Shelley walking in the couch film. That is, Danny Arce, not Bill Shelley, is seen walking in the couch film. And I linked to my recent video that I made on that topic. And I even went so far as to say it was for lurkers only. But I should have known better. One of the regular nuts, Scrumdrum, as he calls himself here, and he is known by many names, which shall not be spoken on my videos, he responded saying, "The man going up the Elm Street extension is Shelley. You can see it in close-ups on Bart Camp's Prayerman website, one of the rare things Camp got right. It has to be because Lovelady and Shelley went up the extension at that time, and they went together. That man being Shelley fits the timing of when they went up the extension. You can go to Camp's Prayerman website and see he matched the clothing and body shapes of Lovelady and Shelley to those two men headed up the extension. It is proper peer review, and you must heel to it." Well, let's stick to the topic. Now he says, as if it's a fact, that Shelley and Lovelady went up to the extension at this time. And the reason he says that is because Shelley and Lovelady said they did that. Their accounts of what they did are conflicting. They change, and I think there's reason to doubt them. But I don't want to make this video about that. I want to go to the photography that he sends me to here. Bart Camp's Prayerman site. And this is from the Prayerman site, and here Bart Camp flatly states Shelley and Lovelady. He's got his arrow pointing to them. And here he's using a frame from the best version of the film available online. I don't know what it's called, but I've got the same one on my computer. But for the purposes of this video, this is the key photography here. Camp describes this, or he has above it he says, "Terry Martin visits the National Archives in Washington for me and finds a huge couch film print in Richard E. Sprague's collection." Terry Martin, as I understand it, is a researcher associated with Greg Parker at the ROKC site, and Scrumdrum routinely savages the ROKC site and Bart Camp, and yet he considers this the Bible of the Shelley and Lovelady controversy. How big of him. But anyway, this is something that I guess Terry Martin and Bart Camp have, and so I have to depend on the version that Bart Camp provides. But what's reproduced here is not simply the frame, but also Bart Camp's own sharpening filtering. Those frames on top represent his sharpening jobs, and you can see on either side on top is the pair of people in question, which I take to be the form of the original provided to him by Terry Martin, though nothing is perfectly clear. And this image is another one that Bart Camp uses, and this is basically his photo comparison in the middle part here. On the left, the bottom left, is an image from the Martin film, which is thought to be Billy Lovelady after the assassination. And to the right of that is an image of Bill Shelley when he's getting into a police car to go to the police station after the assassination. And by comparing these images, it is a reasonable conclusion, I think, to say that that's Shelley and Lovelady. The images are not, they certainly don't exclude the possibility, and they look consistent enough to say that it's Shelley and Lovelady if you take into account their stories of what they said they did after the shooting, that they went down that extension toward the railroad yard. And so it's not an unreasonable conclusion that Bart Camp draws here, but I do think it's wrong. Now, I think that the person in the couch film that Camp has identified as Bill Shelley is actually Danny Arce. And here I'm using Camp's graphic, but I've inserted these items which are framed in blue. There's Shelley leaving with the police from the same film that Bart Camp used. And I have Danny Arce from the Martin film. And Arce and Shelley together when they're leaving in the bottom right-hand corner. So I think if you compare Shelley to Arce, to the man in the film that Camp says is Shelley, that you can see that Arce is a better choice, a better match. For one thing, the hair in the couch film looks absolutely black, and Danny Arce's hair is black, and Shelley's is not black. Shelley's, I don't know what color it is, it's probably brown. It's probably, I don't know if he called it a light brown or whatever, but it's certainly lighter than Danny Arce's hair. And this is best seen in the bottom right-hand corner where you see the two of them together. Arce on the left and Shelley on the right. Clearly, Danny Arce is the one with the black hair, and Shelley's got lighter hair. You might call it blonde hair. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's certainly lighter hair. And in the couch film, it looks absolutely black, and so I think we have a match with Arce. Also, the knot in the knot house pointed out Shelley's white collar, and Shelley does have a white collar, and apparently the guy in the couch film has a white collar. That is on the shirt underneath the jacket. But so does Danny Arce, so that does not exclude Arce. And this person in the couch film looks to be a relatively large person compared to Shelley, who's a kind of a thin person. Danny Arce is larger than Shelley. He's wider. I think he's a little taller too. But I think it's far more consistent with Arce than it is with Shelley. Now, Camp says the other fellow is Lovelady. I say it's Jack Dougherty. There's only one photograph I know of, Jack Dougherty, and that's not a confirmed photograph. It's something I have deduced from the evidence. This photo, it says Dougherty in the squad room, framed in blue. This is a film of Oswald being brought into the squad room, and we know from police reports who was present in the squad room, at least everybody who wasn't a policeman. And the only person this could be of the people known to be in the squad room is Jack Dougherty. So that's how I know that this is Jack Dougherty. And I think if you compare this picture of Jack Dougherty to the other guy in the couch film, the one that's not Danny Arce, that you see it's a pretty good match if you compare to the red-framed version here, which is not as high quality as what Bart Camp has. This comes from that film that's available online. And if you look at that, the guy in the red compared to the guy in the blue, you can't positively say it's the same person, but it's certainly consistent with being the same person. But Bart Camp has this higher quality image, seemingly higher quality. And not only that, apparently, as I have circled in green here, there is a bald spot on this person walking in the couch film. And that would be consistent with the image of Shelley, or with the image of Lovelady from the Martin film. That is, we have the bald spot. Now, the trouble with this bald spot is it's a very bright spot in the image that Bart Camp has. And it's bright enough that I think it should show up even in the less high-quality image from the film we have. That is, I think there should be something there that's light, but there's nothing at all there that's light. So I don't know why this light spot is on this image that supposedly was scanned by somebody at the archives from the Richard Sprague collection, but I'm suspicious that that spot isn't really representative of what was in the image originally, because something that bright should be in the couch film we have online if it's really there. It's not something that should be absolutely absent. It's the brightest light on the image probably. So I am suspicious that this white spot is not representative of a bald spot on that person walking there. I don't know about Jack Dougherty, but I think he probably doesn't have a bald spot. To judge by this fuzzy image here, he has a full head of hair. So I think relying on the bald spot in the Kamp image is a mistake. Also, on the image from the couch film, that guy looks like in the front of the head he's got a full head of hair too. It looks like he's got a lot of hair, this guy. And that's consistent with Dougherty, but not with Lovelady. But in the superior image that Bart Camp has, it looks like he doesn't have a lot of hair in the front. So I'm very suspicious of this superior image. I don't know who to be suspicious of, whether it's this Martin fellow or Bart Camp or Richard Sprague or whoever gave Richard Sprague his copy. But I'm very suspicious that the person that I say is Dougherty, the image there was altered in this superior version to make it look more like the person who's supposed to be Lovelady in the Martin film. The shirt becomes very well defined in this superior image, but in the version of the film that's been around longer, been public longer, it's not clear at all that we even have a plaid shirt worn by this person. So I think I'm very suspicious that this image that Bart Camp has been made to order. So given the fact that Shelley and Lovelady's stories changed and contradict known facts, given the fact that Lovelady, as I see it as a fact, was given a photographic alibi by his face having been pasted onto Joe Molina in the Elkin 6 photo, given the fact that Amos Ewens saw a bald spot in the sniper's nest window, apparently that's about all he saw, that matches Lovelady's head and not Oswald's or anybody else's that I can name on the day of this assassination here, given the fact that Victoria Adams saw Shelley and Lovelady on the first floor about a minute or maybe a little longer than a minute after the shots had been fired, which at a time when they say they were outside in the parking lot of the railroad yards, given the fact that Shelley and Lovelady cannot be seen in the railroad yard or the parking lot in the Martin film or the other films, but Arce can be seen there. And given all these facts, I don't think it could be Shelley and Lovelady in the couch film. I think it has to be Arce and Dougherty. But people, of course, did see Shelley and Lovelady out on the front steps. I'm sure they went out there, and they were out there probably until about 2 minutes before the president came by, and then they went back into the building, and nobody who was honest noticed that, because they were in the back of the group here. They were right near the front door there, and so they just went back into the building, and they went up to the 6th floor, and Billy Lovelady performed his task as the visual decoy, the guy who looked kind of like Oswald, so you can say, so that a witness could say he saw somebody that looked like Oswald. That's what Lovelady was doing, and they're hiding. The plan was to hide this, so they want alibis for Lovelady and Shelley, and I think one of the alibis is the two walking in the couch film. Arce, the way he's dressed and the way his hair is, can be mistaken for Shelley. And Dougherty, I think, is wearing the shirt that they were going to say that Lovelady had been wearing, but they had to change that plan because Lovelady's face had to be pasted onto Joe Molina instead of Jack Dougherty, I think, as the original plan probably was. So Bart Camp has fallen into the trap set by the assassins by misidentifying the two people walking in the couch film.